Paige Magel, Katie Summers, Avery Frank, Harley Moore, Elena Thompson, Lindsay Holyfield, James Peppering, Ashania Gupta, Caroline Hayes, Anicia Allen, Christian Schweibwacki, Gracie Talley, Caroline Sines, Sophia Spadafora, Sienna Vevola, Danielle Duzica, Brianna Bialy, Harley Mushi, Keegan Haberstock, Elaine Copeland, Farrah Hutchison, Malia Pound, Gabby Hinkle, Ava Heck. Wisconsin-Whitewater is coached by head coach Jennifer Regan. And now, let's meet your Simpson women's gymnastics team. Our freshman from Wadsworth, Ohio, Andrea Maldonado. A sophomore from Waukee, Iowa, Rachel Welch.
A senior from Marietta, California, Avril Crespin.
A senior from Indianapolis, Indiana, Olivia Short. A junior from Nashua, New Hampshire, Nicola Ketchpole. A sophomore from Plainfield, Illinois, Alexa Denton. A junior from Crawfordsville, Indiana, Abby Lane. A freshman from Wheatfield, Indiana, Maddie Vanderheer. A junior from Riverside, California, Kaylee Page. A freshman from Winterset, Iowa, Brady Kaysen. A junior from Urbandale, Iowa, Liz Sisler. A sophomore from Lake Mary, Florida, Emmy Barton. A senior from Naperville, Illinois, Bella Dix.
A senior from Cameron Park, California, Annika Cole.
A senior from Norman, Oklahoma, Brooklyn Morgan. A freshman from Grand Rapids, Michigan, Kendall Pinkelman. A sophomore from Dallas, Texas, Olivia Hodari. A senior from Grants Pass, Oregon, Kaylin Talley. A junior from Darren, Illinois, Annie Angus. A junior from Ashland, Nebraska, Emma Charles. A senior from Norman, Oklahoma, Winter Hula. A senior from Sand Springs, Oklahoma, Emma Tolberg. A senior from Cicero, New York, Kaylee Briscoe. A sophomore from Houston, Texas, Rebecca Holloway. A junior from Denver, Colorado, Evelyn Resnick. A senior from Andover, Connecticut, Sydney Nolet. A junior from the Colony, Texas, Aaron Baugh. A senior from Medina, Ohio, Bailey Tessina. And a senior from Omaha, Nebraska, Izzy Brown. The head coach of the Storm in her 4th season is Emily Barrett Payne. She is assisted by Kelsey Coaching, Bailey McCumber, Alyssa Knorr, and Morgan Savette.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin today's contest, today is Faculty and Staff Appreciation Day. At this moment, we would like to thank all of our amazing faculty and staff for all the hard work they do to make Simpson such a special place. If you are a faculty or staff member, we ask you to please rise so we can say thank you for everything you do. And now, fans, we ask if you please rise. Direct your attention to the American flag located near the scorer's table as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Simpson's home opener at the Fitterman Training Center, where they will be hosting UW-Water for the first time this season. I am your host, Andrea Maldonado, and I am joined by Baely Rowe. Baely, we get to commentate together again. How are you?
Yay! I am good. I am excited to have gymnastics back.
I'm so excited. 2026 season. So far, so exciting.
Yes, it is very exciting. And we have a good meet in front of us today. I think both teams are starting off already on the right foot. They just had their last meet, was their first meet of the season, scoring really well. I mean, Whitewater last week posted a 191.775, and Simpson posting already a 186.6. So really good meet ahead of us, and looking forward to them just keeping the ball rolling.
Yeah. Starting with Simpson, we're going to introduce our coaches here. I have Emily Bray-Payne and Kelsey Koken as the assistant coach. We also have another set of coaches as part of the assistant coaching staff. It's Bailey Macumber, Elisa Noor, and Morgan Svek. We were talking about this before the meet. When you have a lot of assistant coaches, what does that tell you?
It tells us a lot of things. I mean, a lot of the times it's, sometimes it's alumni coming in and they want to be able to start somewhere as a coach and maybe grow from there. And that's just a great program to be able to do that and be able to learn under others that have been there for years.
Yeah, I think, honestly, whenever I was doing gymnastics, whenever our coaches were former teammates, that helped a lot. The confidence and the drive of the team. Speaking of scores, Simpson, like what you just mentioned, a 186.6. Mind you, they've only come out to the floor once in the 2026 season, but that is not very far from what they scored at the end of the season last year. So if anything, that tells you that they have potential to grow rather quickly.
Yeah, they definitely do, and some good gymnastics ahead of them. If I was watching their intro and I was like, wow, this is going to be exciting. So really big gymnastics and all the things. So, yeah.
It seemed very daring. And also in prior conversation, I was telling you about this, that Simpson is a team that really wants to go out there and go get it. And you can tell by the kind of skills they put in their routines and their rosters and stuff like that. I think they really do want to go out there and grow as one of the newest programs in this division.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then for Whitewater, we have head coach Jennifer Regan, who's also accompanied by Chloe Edgren and Satya Herbs. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But Jennifer Regan is entering her 21st season and 4th season as head coach. And last year they were runner-ups at Nationals. So I'm sure they're wanting to build off of that. They did have a loss to Wisconsin-Oshkosh last weekend, but that, with gymnastics, it's about scores. It's about, receiving the highest score they can. So they're going to look to build on that and be able to hit, 6 for 6 is always the goal in each event. But obviously 5 scores count and we can go from there. But,
right.
Yeah.
Right. And what a loss, I would say, because if you're telling me you're going to go out there and lose by 2 points, I'd be like, okay, that's fine. You see where you need to improve. But it was a tenth and a cent, guys. 1 penny. Well, in gymnastics verbiage, literally a penny. A tenth and some change. Literally, like, Oshkosh scoring of 191.950 and Whitewater literally trailing them with a 191.775. It's just like one of those meets that it's like anyone's territory at that point.
100%. Absolutely. And I don't know about you, we didn't talk about this offline, but I am always so impressed with the freshmen coming into college lately. I mean, both teams have had freshmen come in with top scores. And I'm like,
yeah.
Their club gyms are doing a fantastic job if that's the case, because it's so hard to be able to translate club gymnastics going in transition into college. So being able to do that for both teams is so impressive.
Yeah, and that goes across the board. I think when 2026 season started, for every school, I have been noticing freshmen be like the frontliners of many, many rosters. And it's just, I guess the older we get, the more intentional you could say coaches get into club gymnastics. I don't think that was the case very much when you and I particularly were doing gymnastics. I think the goal was more like aimed towards elite and less towards like...
Don't age us, okay?
I know. Hey, but it's 4 years, it'll make a difference. And
100%.
That's a whole high school career, you know what I mean? So it's important, I think, to also recognize that the evolution at club gyms, like you said, is just more aimed towards collegiate careers. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that. I think it's also, we see older athletes in college and they're being able to compete longer and longer. And I think it's just a testament to, again, just the club coaches being able to preserve their bodies in the right way. So I think heading towards the collegiate level is just nice. It's nice to see. So yeah.
Yeah, you have a lot of freshmen coming in with the confidence of a lion. And for example, tell me how she is actually sticking a double layout dismount on her warm-up. Easy peasy. Crazy stuff. Those are the kind of stuff that I will always be impressed by, how some athletes, whether that's like underclassmen or upperclassmen, that they're able to be confident in the warm-ups. That's just a winner for me.
Absolutely. I don't know how you warmed up, but I always loved being able to stick a dismount before I went up to compete, because I was like, okay, if I can stick one, I'm in competition. If I didn't stick one, I was like, oh gosh, now I'm nervous.
Yeah, I had the weirdest warm-ups. I remember I have a terrible back. To this day, terrible back. Had an injury that kind of prevented me from doing workloads, like heavier workloads. So whenever I went into competitions, it was pretty much like stick it style. Like you kind of pat the bar or the beam, or, hey, how are you? I hope you have a good day. See ya. Kind of situation. My dad would tell me to speak to the event. Hey, remember to treat me well today.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
My warm-ups were more about me like approaching the event rather than actually getting
Literally
on.
approaching.
Literally.
Yes.
Hey, so this is a new competition. I've never been to this university. You don't know me. I'm understanding, but
Can you make sure the bars are bouncy? Can you make sure the floor is nice and nice and
Yeah.
bouncy too?
I think it's also funny because my warm-ups, obviously, I was a floor specialist, so it was the dynamic was very different as to what would have been if I was competing bars or beam.
Yeah.
On that front, I can't really commentate on how that feels because that's not necessarily the case for elite. It was a different ball game, but we don't have time for that. We have our first. We have our first.
We could go on for years for that one.
Yes. That's a long story right there. Oh my gosh. We have Rachel going up for Simpson. Also, guys, remember. Yes. Remember that when we have dual meets, it's going to be one team competing at a time. So we will see everybody that's going on the event, like one by one. It's not going to be simultaneously.
Which is so nice for the viewers.
Yeah.
To see every athlete.
Yeah. And for the commentators to not kind of lose track of what's going on.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. But I already saw some really powerful vaults just in warm-up from Simpson. So looking forward to seeing potential 10-0 start values as well as some 9-9 pluses. Which is going to be great.
We were talking about the intro video where they showcased some of their stronger vaults. And so that makes me excited for this lineup. Whenever the judges want to raise that little green flag.
Yeah, and to talk a little bit, also, both teams have 2 exhibitions on
Yes.
each event. So just talking about their depth as well. It's being able to pull an athlete in whenever they need it, or for them also to get that experience is awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
Green flag is up. Getting
Finally.
things started. Andrea, what are we looking for on vault?
Stay on your feet.
Ooh,
That's all you
that
want.
was nice.
Height.
Stay on your feet.
Yeah. Stay on your feet. Height, not super bendy elbows when you go into the vault table. And some kind of like more explosive takeoffs from the table.
Yeah, we just saw that. And up for Whitewater, she looked like she had maybe had to restart her routine, but nice combination. Giant fold to a ginger. Little leg separations here and there, but she's finishing this strong. You want that lead off to be able to go out there and be able just to hit the routine, not just like that, sticking the landing. Like I said, it looked like she maybe had a restart. She was climbing up onto the bar when we first saw her. Looks a little bit upset, but I'm sure she's getting some encouraging words from her coach there.
Here we go. We start with a 955, a flash of a 955. That means that probably, I can't tell if they have 2 sets of judges here, but
Maybe that's start value.
again, for the viewer, you're going to have several flashes of scores with a mix of start values, depending on what's being, presented. And then the average of those 2 flashes of scores will determine the final score. Which
Looks like
for
the average.
Rachel, yeah.
Was 9.45, which is a great start for them, especially with that layout vault. Nice cause vault. That was great.
A 10-0 vault.
That is a 10-0 vault. Second up in lineup from Kendall.
Wow. Okay, Simpson.
Okay. I don't know about you, but I never did soup. I mean, I did soups.
I did.
I did. But they're so hard. They're so hard.
Yeah, the entry to the table is very, my arms weren't long enough for that. And it's just like I had to throw my hand over my head, and I was like, well, I'm hitting my head at this point. I don't know what I'm doing. And yeah, I used to compete. Yeah, I had to, it was almost like sideways a little bit. And it's a very intricate vault because if you are also the hand placement, if they're not fully sideways, you will get that discounted as a front facing vault and you're going to lose value for that.
Yep. Good call out on that. Next up for UW-Whitewater, we have Brianna Balian. She last meet scored a 9.65. So looking here for a strong routine, nice shaposh, good backswing, right into that bail to handstand. Loving the difficulty so far from both teams, really. Showcasing good handstands into that double back, up forward. But again, nice routine for them, a good comeback. They needed that after that little mistake from Gracie, but really nice routine overall.
I really do love when athletes are able to really kind of high bricks. All right, I'm going to say this before I continue that thought. We need to bring back the famous college salute, the arch back and the hands back and the head back and all that stuff. I feel like now we have more of a paused salute with like a semi-arched posture. And I really miss the very dramatic, like,
break your back.
Arch. Yeah, like, yuck.
But now
don't we have that anymore?
They do like celebrations after now. They do like the TikTok,
Oh my
whatever
God.
that, like, keep it, but like, but I'm not over it, but like.
Yes, last weekend I was watching a quad meet where one of the girls, I cannot remember which university was it, but she did a whole like WWE style like KO situation after her routine.
UW. I was commentating that meet. Yes.
Insane.
Chelsea
I was like,
Callahan.
yes, I love that.
Yes.
Love that energy.
Me too. I was like, ow, but like, ow. Next vaulter, huge full. Wow.
Wow.
So what do you want to see? That was a really big vault. What do you want her to do a little bit more of to be able to stick that landing?
I think it would have to be, wow, this meet is going really fast. I am so sorry, guys, that I'm not able to commentate right away. She had a beautiful dismount. Going back to vault, you need to be able to get your legs over your shoulders a little bit quicker before you start twisting in order to have more momentum for your flip on your vault. That way your chest is going to be on the higher end and you're going to have more space to land.
Absolutely. And the nice thing about fulls is that you can see the ground the entire time. So as you're coming out of it, you can be able to flare it, find the vault table, all of it. And she had enough height to do it. So
yeah.
eventually it'll get there.
I think she also had a lot of travel time. So her full traveled backwards a little bit more than she would have hoped for. But overall, really good. I mean, a 9.525 is a very good score for that vault.
Absolutely. This is Emmy. Wow.
Those lines are so pretty.
Yeah. She kept her hips flat too all the way throughout that vault. And the distance, obviously. We don't have the ESPN line. But
at this point, it's just like you see the improvement from last season.
Yeah.
They were only working with Jurchenko layouts. And this is really, really, really impressive.
That's a testament to the coaches being able to really coach their athletes to get there too.
Absolutely.
Another great start from, this is Elaine Copeland, another shaposh. Had some bent legs in that backswing, but staying tight now throughout. If it was me, I would say a little short on that handstand, but covering it really nicely. On that dismount, so she's taking a step forward. So now if you're taking a step forward on a backward skill, it is a bigger deduction. But I would love to see her chest kind of come back off the bar. Whenever I'm coaching athletes on double backs, you want to get their shoulders back fast. And she just kind of let them forward. But huge.
Oh, beautiful.
That's like whatever those,
Yes.
celebrations are. I'm like trying to do it
I am
here.
all
No one
for
can
those.
see me.
I am all for those. I think it's very funny and it's very like apparent that the athletes are enjoying it. You know what I mean? But going back to what you were saying about the double backs, I think also it helps when you're going from I think it's harder to do a double back when you're coming from a direct skill. So like a blind or a full pirouette and no giant in between, because that kind of kills it. So it's kind of harder to bring your shoulders backwards and kind of like tap, if you will. But she did really good, honestly. I think both teams are putting it all in the line right now.
Yeah, I mean, 3 in a row, 9.5s for Whitewater on bars, and wow, 9.7, 9.725 for the last two athletes for Simpson. Incredible. I mean, deserving too. Looks like this might be an exhibition here.
A really good exhibition at that.
I keep saying wow. I don't have any other words right now.
You guys, this is what happens when you have exhibitions and your exhibitions are also potentially like good to go in the lineup. It's just, hey, so y'all are all good.
And we saw this athlete warm up, nail a double layout. Oh, maybe wrong athlete, excuse me. Jane Heffernan, giant full double tuck. Looked easy. That was great.
Still, let's harp on those lines. Something that I've been noticing in like 2026 season is the really extended and kind of like lean lines, like those Nastia looking lines. Have you noticed that kind of athlete kind of come across again? And
Yeah.
why is that? Because I feel like for the last few years we've been getting a very more on the shorter side, a lot of shorter girls, and now we're getting a lot of like very long-legged ladies.
I would agree. I was just gonna mention that. Like I remember when I was coaching this morning, actually, I coached some compulsory athletes, and I was telling them I'm 5'2". I was the fourth tallest girl on my team at 5'2".
5'2".
So, and now, you see athletes that are 5'6", 5'7", 5'8" even. And that's where I think we're seeing those extended lines a little bit more. They're those tall, beautiful lines that we're talking about. And it's just impressive. And it goes to show that you don't need to be 5'2" anymore for gymnastics. You can still
Absolutely not.
be a taller athlete and be powerful, do bars. It's how you create the code around yourself. And the code of points is in gymnastics realm is we have a booklet that gives us skills and what the points are for each of those skills. So being able to do that per athlete is so important. Wow, big E element there. Piked Jaeger. Down to the low bar.
I believe this is that athlete we were talking about with the double layout.
Okay. They look the same, those lines. Those handstand lines look the same. There it is. Gearing up.
There it is.
Huge double layout.
Wow.
Ooh, just pike down.
So pretty.
So pretty. And Paige Miguel, a senior in that last spot. Beautiful routine.
So gorgeous.
Yeah, last week, looked like their top, Paige last week scored a 9.75. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's in the 9.6s and even 9.7s. That was a great routine.
Absolutely. I think, especially for that anchor spot, usually your anchor spot is that athlete that can kind of tie it all together, So they are going to be able to probably drop that 8.75 that they have going on at the very beginning of the lineup and probably use Paige's score to aid it.
Absolutely. And here's another chance. These are those exhibition routines like Andrea was mentioning at the beginning on vault. It's just a way for athletes to maybe gain that experience. They're already ready for the event. They're kind of the alternates, if you will, for the rotation. So having that experience under your belt, having those numbers underneath you to be able to go in at any point is important. But wow, straight body cast. Brings you back to the elite days, doesn't it?
Insane. Never got those down, ever. Those were
Yes.
like actual punishment for me. Like, oh, do you want to not do bars? You're going to do like full body casts. Don't worry about it.
But wow.
She does all. Oh my goodness.
All of them. Showcasing already another strong routine for Whitewater. Another one that could potentially break the lineup. That was a great routine there. And what a way to have a backup like that.
Second double layout we've seen today. Mind you, it's not very common. Now, I feel like double layouts are getting sort of replaced with either front dismounts or full ins.
Yes.
Full ins or full outs, and the double backs. The double backs are like the end of like NCAA double layouts. It's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, this might be a hot take. But this is why I love watching Division III gymnastics because they showcase big skills, right? And then we have the cookie cutter routines, if you want to call them that, when you're watching other meets. And I'm like, where's the big gymnastics? I know we want to get that perfect 10, but let's showcase the big gymnastics with it. And again, hot take, my opinion. So yeah.
I will second your hot take because I've been looking at some more gymnastics now that I am not doing gymnastics, and I am like, hey, so either the NCAA code of points has to evolve out of the 10-0, or we just need to be daring to, okay, let's away with the 10-0, let's try and do harder skills. Like, for example, I had a 2.5 on floor, and any young lady with a Rudy to a back handspring or like a back layout could have outscored me any day. And so it's about like having these skills, having like the grit to dare. And Whitewater, let me tell you, both of these teams actually are daring with the gingers, the double layouts, the not so very simple, routines.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, mind you, front 2.5, not back 2.5. She was doing a front handspring 2.5
Yes.
twist.
Yes.
Very different. Very
never went and did anything harder. I remember watching back the commentary for the meets, and they were like, "She's capable of triple. Will she do it? No, because they're going to they're gonna not score it at the judging table." So I think I've been and I think I've mentioned this before in previous meets that I've commentated. I really love how the men's gymnastics still sticks with the regular international kind of scoring grading, because you have more opportunities to score bigger and do more variety of gymnastics. So whenever you do see those kind of routines, you're like, whoa. Anyhow, this is the event summary for the sorry guys. This is the event summary for the first rotation that actually went by super quick. Simpson ending on a really high note, actually, with a 47.950, and actually outpacing Whitewater by 2 cents, you guys, 2 pennies.
2 cents.
47.750 for Whitewater on bars. They were able to drop that 8.750 from the first young lady that went up, and it looks like the exhibitions that they also presented did really, really good. So
yeah,
it's a win-win for both.
Absolutely. Those coaches are going to have a tough choice maybe next week, seeing who's going to be in lineup. But it's always a good thing to have athletes pushing the lineups. It only makes everyone that much better. So impressive first rotation. Excited to see them build.
Yeah, and I am also excited to, as the season progresses, to see the athletes make And not to shame on mistakes, but like the first few meets are always like icebreakers, you know, that's always when you're gonna have the most mistakes naturally. But the second meet out and these athletes are like scoring 97s, big numbers, 47s as a team, is just like them setting the bar really high for themselves moving forward.
Absolutely. And it gives talking about growing through the season, it gives the coaches too an idea of how the judges are judging each routine. So maybe they need to change composition of their routine, and so forth, to be able to get that highest score. So the beginning of beginning of the season, it's just everyone's just kind of seeing what's out there and playing with different ways, kind of like a puzzle, or not a puzzle, but just like playing with different lineups, playing with, different athletes in different situations. So
it's like a strategy game. I heard somebody say it was like playing chess. And
that's what it is. Like, not a puzzle, but
it's kind of funny, but I also think it doesn't have to be super complicated. At times, I think coaches can get really, really overwhelmed by predicting. And you are a coach. Can you tell me a little bit about how that plays a role into where you're going to put athletes, considering, because obviously the athletes aren't necessarily in charge of considering the judges. The coaches are. So how do you work with that dynamic?
kind of like you said, it's not rocket science for the most part. You want to look at routines that are going to be that have less built-in deductions. And so you think about your first athlete going up and your last athlete going up. These are going to be your strongest athletes, the first athlete and the last athlete, because those are the ones that are either going to set the tone or finish it and bring it home. Then you're just trying to find the middle ground of everybody that maybe, is going to potentially build. Maybe it needs to have variety in the middle. So on bars, maybe if 3 people in a row have Jaegers, let's maybe mix that up with Tkachev. So it just kind of depends on, long story short, it just depends on the athletes, and it depends on what the coaches really want in that situation.
That's a really good explanation for the viewers and for people who potentially don't understand. Wow, that was a really good vault. That don't necessarily understand how the game is played from the coach's POV. I think sometimes the audience can forget about what truly goes behind the scenes into putting these routines together, getting the athletes there, and the coaches and the assistant coaches and everybody play a big part.
Yeah. But if you want to take a look at an easier event to kind of maybe put a lineup together, let's take vault. If an athlete has a layout that can stick, you want to put them first because their scoring potential might be a little bit lower. You want to put the scoring potential that has a 10-0 start value at the end. So that's the way that you can also build lineups.
So I'm going to throw a curveball to you. If you have 399 start value vaults at the beginning that they may or may not stick. They're pretty good vaults, may or may not. But then your 10-0 vaults are not guaranteed to stick. What do you do with those 10-0 vaults? Like your 1.5s, your souks, your front-facing vaults. Like where do you mix and match those?
If it was me personally, I would look at the who's the most dynamic. So you already talked about kind of what we're looking for on vault. We're looking for straight arms on the table. We're looking for height. We're looking for distance. So if that layout vault is dynamic, clean, and if they take a step that's the only deduction that they have, I might mix that in with some of the 10-0 vaults that might be a little bit more scrappy or okay, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But
I've seen a little bit of everything. I've seen some teams, at least in my day, I remember us starting probably with the shakier 10-0 vaults and ending with 9-9s. And sometimes it worked in our favor.
Yeah. Because the idea is for the scores to build. but you know, you also want to think about who's starting your event, because who starts is going to set the tone. So if you
Right.
have the shaky vaults or shaky bar routines, how does that set up the rest of the athletes?
That's true. That is true.
That's my thought process. Now, that's not maybe how some other people do it, but
Oh, absolutely not. I think the second rotation is about to start in just 30 seconds here. Everybody is bracing for the start of this rotation. I think we had a pretty good warm-up in my opinion. I know offline I said we were going to have breaks. We kind of got a little carried away, so I apologize. But I am really, really curious to see where Simpson is going to go with their bar routines. So,
yeah. Last meet, their highest scores came from Liz and Evelyn in the 9.5s. So hoping to maybe see some of those 9.5s from both of them again, or even break into those 9.6s.
can you tell me about that pesky sticky paper they put in the vault table?
Oh, the TAC 10. So it's just to make sure that, so let's say they're doing a front vault, their hands don't slide. So if they're
Okay.
coming in at a certain angle, so you want to be at a 3/4, but if they're lower, they might slide. Oh, looks like we have dual screen up. Holy cow.
Oh, so we're going together. Stuck landing.
Yes.
Let's just put that out there. Stuck landing on their first
Let's
go
see.
around.
Yeah, let's see if that's contagious. A lot of times they are.
Right, she did not fall. She had a little bit of a mishap, but really, really good routine.
Yes. And that was Avril Crespin on bars for Simpson and Rachel Welch. Oh, sorry, excuse me. That was Danielle for Whitewater. Okay. I'm liking the dual screen.
Me too. I just didn't
the other
realize we were
athlete.
gonna go. The duels are now going like together.
Yeah, because like we talked about in the beginning, typically it goes vault goes, then bars goes, and it flip flops every time. So we'll do our best to be able to commentate each event as they come through. Looks like Brianna is all set to go on vault for UW-Whitewater. Wow.
Wow. I love these very airy fulls. I love them so much.
Yeah, I mean, she had enough room to do that 1.5, to be honest.
I think that's the goal, and I keep saying this. Like, there's a couple teams in the WIAC and like on the independent side that I'm like, I see that layout, I see that full, and I know you can do more. Like, I hope that is a possibility, at least in practice.
Yeah, and I'll touch on that here in a little bit. Let's take a look at this bar routine here. Nice Ginger, beautiful.
Wow.
You can look at those lines. The toe point is incredible here.
That bail over to a handstand, so stunning.
Yep. and
Missing that
difficult.
little handstand there, but
Oh no. She just held on to her legs too long on that, but that was a great routine otherwise.
yeah, I think that was a really good. And again, talking about those variety skills, you don't usually see a lot of gingers in the NCAA. Like, think D1, D2, D3. There's a whole bunch of athletes, a lot of young ladies that dare to do this skill. You'll see a lot of gingers, a lot of Tkachevs, and I'm just like blown away whenever I see really, really, really pretty ones like she just did.
Yes, and a lot of the times too, these are skills that they come in with, but also they might be learning it too as they're there. So
Right.
again, just a testament to the coaches being able to coach each athlete and what they're great at.
Because realistically, can you talk to me about what the potential of you learning new skills in college is?
Okay, that's not a hard question, but um, it's really
On
hard
an
because,
average.
on an average, because when let's say you're growing up, you're playing maybe a different sport, and you learn how to dribble a ball. Let's take soccer, for example. You learn how to dribble a ball a certain way, and you do that for 10 years. It's so hard to be able to break that habit and do something else. And so having these athletes being a gymnast for 10 plus years, learning it a certain way, and then being like, okay, let's change it. Let's try this, and be able to learn it in just maybe 6 months is crazy. But they do it, but that's why we have, facilities that have pits, foam pits and things like that to be able to learn those skills. But also, like, spotting goes into it too. So a lot of coaches have to learn how to spot and be able to understand the mechanics of each of the skills to be able to learn it from the ground up. And again, an unfortunate fall for them. We want to see those giant falls go over the top. Just seemed like she just twisted or turned a little bit early, but good fight from her. I don't know if that made sense, but
No, it does. It absolutely does. I remember getting to college as a junior, and it was almost like trying to learn gymnastics all over, like trying to learn how to teach myself how to walk again, or it was simple stuff like that
Yeah.
I didn't realize I could learn new things. On that same note,
100%.
Whitewater has had 2 vaults already that are 9.9s that have been absolutely chef's kiss.
Yeah, and great finish there. She made that giant full over on the bars over there. But yeah, going back to just learning skills, like as simple as a round off. I had to relearn how to do a round off in college because I was taught it wrong my entire career. So, I was like, why am I landing short on all my back tumbling passes? Well, it comes from your round off, and it comes from your hurdle. It comes from the very beginning, the things that you learned in level 3, So hurdles are so crucial. The big skills come from the very first
Basics.
thing: the run, the basic, the hurdle, the round off.
Handstands.
So, yes, handstands. I'm coaching compulsory right now, and it's like, how do you teach a handstand? It's just a handstand, So
Yeah.
you're having to go back to T-lever, needle kick, all the things that are so important that stick with you when you get to the optionals and even college.
Yeah, I agree with that. My coach at the time had told me it was like trying to teach an old fox new tricks. And I was like, well,
Here we are.
good thing I want to learn.
Yeah, and that's important too. You need athletes, and sorry, but to go to vault really fast, that was a smart move by the vaulter here. So she
I was about
didn't
to ask you
touch
about that.
any of the apparatus there, so she didn't touch the springboard, so she's able to repeat whatever she's doing. Looked like she maybe just ran too fast and lost the steps, but yeah, huge Tkachev over on the right.
Do you think there's any
Connected.
deductions for when you bail out on a vault like that?
No, there's no deduction. They get three chances. Oh, no,
so you get
sorry,
to-
that's club. You can run by once, and
Okay.
then they need to go. They
Okay.
need to touch. Yeah,
And also,
there's no deduction for that.
I believe the young lady that was on bars there stuck her landing, and her entire team swarmed the mat, and that was really, really exciting. That was actually, and for UW-Whitewater, that was the first fall of the day. That's a lie. On bars they had one, but that was my
But on
mistake. I
vault,
didn't see that
first
one.
fall. Yeah, if you didn't see it, it didn't happen, right?
It didn't happen, guys. We didn't see it. We're not there.
We weren't there physically. And I think that was Emma Charles on bars for Simpson who just went. That was a beautiful routine.
Yeah.
She did a Tkachev. She did a nice overshoot into I call it a toe hex. People call them hex, or hex up to the high bar. But nice.
Is that the
turnover
one
on
that
both of
you
those.
kind of do like a little flyover to the high bar?
Yeah, you put your toes on the low bar, and then you come off the low bar, then catch the high bar.
And for the audience, I am so sorry that at times I sound absolutely atrocious. My first language is not English. So half of the stuff that, the skills that I am trying to commentate on, I do better when I ask. That was a 1.5.
No, that was just a half.
What?
That's just a half.
Wow. She could do full there. That was really, really high up there. I was like, whoa.
That's funny.
Also, does it have a different value when you do vaults tucked?
No, actually. If you are tucked,
Interesting.
I believe on vault it might be a tucked full is a 9.9, but a laid out full is a 9.95. But on other events like balance beam, let's say somebody does a cartwheel tucked 1.5 off the beam, that would be the same value as a laid out half.
Beautiful. This young lady on bars is rocking it.
She is tight. Love how tight she is. Look at those giants right over the top. No arch and
Double layout.
nice double layout. On those giants, I know we don't have slow-mo, but I would love to slow-mo her giant. She has a nice
The
round
crossover. Yes.
position. I call that the guy giant, when they do this mount where they pull their feet over. So good. And another double front. Or not double front. Wow, that would be hard.
That would be insane.
Front entry there.
Hey, I did meet a young lady that did do a double front several
Crazy.
times. That
Terrifying.
was wow. It was
Terrifying.
astonished. Like, it was like a stunning sight because she would fly off of the vault table and do like so many flips, and then the cowboy posture all the way. I was like, whoa, those are golden hips, guys.
Those are golden hips. No one wants to be breaking noses here. We can't be pulling our knees into our face.
No.
He's back.
So that also reminds me, when you're doing front vaults, do you have a deduction when you're doing the cowboy position? And for those of you who don't know what a cowboy position is, that's when you're doing a front or back, or double front, whatever you want. And you kind of like hold your knees or your legs towards the bottom of your knees and you spread.
Like a straddle
Like-
almost, but with bent legs.
Yes. And so
Yeah.
you're really, really tucked because your legs are really, really spread out. Does that have any type of deduction?
Now, I'm no judge to make that clear, but yes, it is. I just don't know how much of a deduction they can, or like how much they can take.
At least
on
for
the spreaded
collegiate.
legs. Yeah, I would say probably like up to a tenth or up to a tenth and a half.
Okay.
Just depending on how wide their legs are. Now, it is also a safety thing too, like I mentioned. You don't want to be tugging your legs in so tight that if you fall, your face goes into your knees. That's why they spread their legs apart, to be able to have that space.
Right, absolutely.
Also to pull faster.
Yeah, because you get a lot of momentum when you pull like that.
Yeah.
Stuck
Stuck
landing.
landing. Now, she did hit her heels out of her bail, out of her Jaeger. So that is going to be up to 3/10, I believe. Again, no judge here. I believe it's up to 3/10. So we might see a lower score from her, even though it looked like a really great routine.
Yeah. Yep. So, guys, this is your water pee break. We are going to go into the event summary here whenever... Oh, wait, we have two more exhibitions? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm getting ahead of myself because I saw the Whitewater ladies and I was like, are we changing already? But we will take a break after rotation 2. It's like kind of like the graceful period.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
So, okay, as a compulsory coach, do you record?
No. I'm spotting too much. I coach floor, so I'm just constantly spotting.
But do you guys have like a setup where you're like constantly recording and looking back and like kind of like
Wish.
doing a film session?
We do have the possibility. It's on their phone. It's called like Coach's Eye or whatnot, but it's not like college where you have a screen on, in your practice facility where you can look back at the replay. obviously I would wish I do sometimes if an athlete isn't understanding what I'm saying, but huge ginger to that bail, had too much swing going into it. But great routine to have as a backup. Wow. But going back to it, yeah, I wish we had more of that because then it teaches athletes, especially, I think a lot of gymnasts are visual learners. So being able to see what they're doing and then having them being able to coach themselves is important because if you know what you're feeling in your skills, you know how to then kind of correct yourself in the middle of it if you need it. It's that gymnastics IQ, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I fully agree with that, but I only agree with it because those were one of the tricks I had to learn, like in my later years of gymnastics.
Same.
Having to see myself do something and understand what my coach was saying and like put those two and two together was like a game changer for me. I was like, now I get it. Sometimes my brain wasn't really clicking for certain corrections and just the amount of skills I didn't ever actually compete because there were corrections I couldn't actually process. It's a handful.
Well, your brain is, not so like you're 10 years old, your brain's not fully developed. You're just like having fun out there,
That too, absolutely. As a teenager, you're also like spaced out. But I do want to talk to you about something because I see.
Okay, I'm here.
I see the coaches getting animated, right? Okay. When a coach gets animated on the sidelines and yay, like rah 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 kind of situation, that's good. But what happens and why is it that gymnastics especially, or at least just gymnastics because I don't do other sports, but you're not allowed to get upset when your athletes don't get what they deserve.
So hard. Yes, I agree. Looking at her right now, just jumping up and down, just
right. That's why I mentioned it.
Touching that Jaeger. Wow, but this is a great routine. You don't want to be upset because the judges don't know that you made a mistake, right? So let's say they had to cover their routine. Maybe she, had to do plan B of her routine. And the coach has to stay stoic, if you will, and just be like, yep, that was supposed to happen. Judges don't know that this was a little bit of a mistake because the judges are judging based on what they see. They don't know the routine up front. So it's important for the coaches to be able to either show emotion with excitement or just staying chill. And it's so hard.
Or at least what happens when they are upset at the judge, at the score. Why in gymnastics, you see this in football, basketball, soccer, so many coaches get extremely animated.
I don't know if you want me to get into this. Because
the yellow cards would be flying.
If I was there, yes, no. That is, yes, I know what you're saying. And sorry, I didn't answer it the first time. But yeah, it's really difficult because some athletes, you might see a routine that maybe have a little bit straighter legs, maybe a little bit more height that they maybe scored lower than the person before them that might have, that might have had a little bit more bent legs. And you're like, this doesn't make sense. Like why is this athlete scoring either lower or just the same when they looked better, they looked cleaner? It's what the judges see. It's such a subjective sport, so it's hard to say. Yeah. It's all on the optics. Again, I can't get into it. It's okay. It's a lot.
We'll get onto that later.
I might.
But I will say this for the event summary. Simpson stayed pretty consistent with the 45.65. They had a little bit of mistakes here and there, but held their ground pretty well. And then Whitewater on the vault with a 48.175. Really, really, really good score with really, really good vaults. And moving on to rotation 3, we should be seeing a different change of pace because we're getting into the performative side of the meet and then the really groundbreaking events like beam. So, Bailey, any more comments related to this rotation?
Got you. I will. We're going to take a break, though. Oh, you want comments towards this rotation?
You can have a comment, or we can go into a little break if you want.
I'm excited to see what Simpson does because obviously that wasn't their best rotation on bars. They had a few mishaps, so I'm excited to see if they can kind of calm their energy for beam and just let it all out there because at this point, just have fun and not worry about so much of the scores or anything like that.
I'm looking forward to them having just like closing that gap between the two and being able to stay on the equipment because that's usually where everybody goes wrong. But we're gonna see you in 2 minutes when this warm up starts, and then we will be back with rotation threes.
Ladies, your 4-minute touch begins now.
Emoting on our home turf is insane, dog.
Judges, please take control of your competitions now.
The second one was absolutely terrible, atrocious. And then, but that's what I mean. Like, have the best of us, girl. It's okay.
It does. It does. Yes, but it can be stressful at times, though, you know, because a lot of the times, if you have multiple athletes ready on an event like game or floor, if you fall, you know, sometimes the coach will just pull you and put the other athlete in if they're warming up better. So it does put a little stress on you as well. It just depends on, you know, the depth that you have. But to go over to off our tangent here, to go over to floor, first athlete up for Whitewater is crushing it.
This is where we're going to see a lot of the dance. And you know what? I encountered a couple of people that asked me, what is the point of the dancing on floor? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
I see. I've heard that too from people that don't watch gymnastics. They're like,
I got very fierce about it.
And then it goes, fierce, you know? But the point of it is to show the artistry. It is artistic gymnastics. So the artistry of the athlete being able to showcase the dance as well as the tumbling. That's the best explanation I can give.
And you see that on beam also. Like, all of your skills on the beam have to be followed by a series of dancing patterns. You even have to, like, the front of your body has to touch the beam at some point, or your lower body has to touch the beam at some point. So those are the kind of requirements that kind of transform into dance, if you will.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would be extremely boring.
Yeah, it would be like what we call a skeleton routine, where you're doing no dance and just the skills. But now it showcases a full-rounded athlete, if you will. And you'll see some athletes like this one, Rachel, who I would say has more elegant dance. She really pushes through her fingers and her arms and has softer elements to it. And you might see some athletes who move across the beam really fast and are super sharp. It just depends on the strength of that athlete. But
and just to follow that, yeah, I was going to say, to follow that, her routine, I think the only major deduction I could have accounted as a third party, just an observer, was her dismount. You know, she had a little bit of bendy knees. She was a little bit farther into the beam, getting off of the beam, and she had a step.
Yes, but that's kind of the lead off that you're looking for. Somebody who is strong and looks confident. And Danielle starting off Whitewater scoring a 9.5 5.75. Great start for them. Nice combination pass. Is the sting mat a deduction?
As far as I was concerned, you were not supposed to have 2 sting mats on the ground.
Yeah.
But
This one, I think this is one's okay because she has a 4-incher and a sting mat.
yes, so that was what I was gonna say. Like, the sting mat is kind of a little band-aid. The real mat is the 4-incher over there on the other side. So you can't have 2 4-inches mats on the floor. So that's why you'll see some athletes have, the sting mat it's a mental thing, I think.
Yeah, or it sometimes even helps with the bounce a bit on combination passes. So maybe they're coming back from a little injury or something and they just need that.
The amount of pounding you do on your ankles is crazy, so I don't blame her.
But huge round off double pike to end the routine for Whitewater. Really great set. Another one.
I wanted to ask you about this. Is it a newer trend for athletes to do passes without back handsprings?
Yes.
I feel like I've seen it so much more. I've seen like a front tug, round off double pike. Oh my god, I can't speak today.
Right. Or like double just Arabian.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or even twisting passes off of round offs. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I would say yes, we're seeing more of that potentially. And I don't know if people know, but it is so hard to generate power out of just a round off. And so you have to have a really good round off to be able to do that. But I think a lot of the times, we talked a little bit about the code of points and being able to do that per athlete. And so maybe some athletes have a little tighter shoulders or their back doesn't necessarily bend, or maybe they had a back problem growing up. So you eliminate that back handspring when you can to be able to preserve their bodies to do other skills. So it's playing with the code of points and playing with, the body that you have, really.
Yeah, those little combinations also help. This routine was perfect.
Flawless.
Wow.
Now, I might have a hot take.
Go ahead.
You say your thing.
I was just going to commentate on her routine. I think her lines are really pretty, and I'm pretty sure she had a really pretty bar routine also. But anyway, moving on. You were going to say your hot take. Please enlighten me.
A lot of people say beam is the make it or break it event. Okay. Now, this is coming from someone that loves beam and treats beam like she's on the floor. So I don't know. If you are a strong beam worker, if you are a confident beam worker, beam should not be a make it or break it event for teams.
Absolutely not. I agree with that.
So when people say, oh, they're going to beam, the treacherous beam, I'm like, no, they've practiced this. Like, they're going to be completely okay. Yes, there might be some nerves and you might see some wobbly ankles, but if they're a true beam worker, if they're a true, beam worker, they're going to treat it like it's the floor. It's nothing up there.
I think just to kind of that was a beautiful pass. To kind of add to that thought, as to why historically beam has been kind of the boogeyman is because everybody's energy simmers down aggressively. So not only is the athlete nervous, but everybody else is nervous because you don't have that big margin of mistake that you would perhaps on floor, that you have space to run, space to take a step or kind of adjust. On beam, it's more of a core concentration. You have to be very much in your bubble, and your team also has to work with you on that. If you have a team that's dead silent and the energy dies on beam, you're not going to have a good lineup. So I agree. Beam does not have to be the make it or break it, but sometimes it is because it's more of an external environment than it is necessarily more so the skills itself.
It's grounded. Yeah, it's a grounded environment, if you will. And I even think bars is like that, to be honest, especially when I was doing bars. I needed to ground myself because it wasn't a powerful event. It wasn't something that you can just get your adrenaline out on, so same idea there. but really nice saves on a lot of her skills. Something that I always teach on beam is making sure that after each skill that your eyes and arms are at the end of the beam or in the place that you need to be at. And she had some slight wobbles because, one of her arms went to the right side. You want to be able to gather those arms nice and squaring up the beam, and then obviously looking at the end of the beam for each skill.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. And I think there's many times that you could potentially be off the beam, and the way that you're looking at the beam might actually save you. Yep. It's a very, like I said before, it's not a very flexible and mistake friendly event. However, little things can make big differences.
Yes, little minute things. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, for example, have you ever heard of somebody telling you to press your big toe on the beam to keep balanced?
Yep.
Had never heard of that.
Yeah.
Had never heard about that until I actually learned how to do it, and I was like, "Ha! Wow,
yeah,
that's new."
I heard. I think it was Michigan last weekend when I was watching their meet. Their coach had mentioned melting into the beam because how when you land, you need to press down into the beam. So melting into the beam so that you stay grounded. I was like, oh, I'm gonna start using that.
See, some of these conversations actually make me miss gymnastics so much because I would love to go ahead and try how this feels.
Yes. But then I'm like, my body doesn't know what to do. My body can't anymore.
I'm an old lady. No, but back to the meet, you guys. We go on tangents. This is why we don't commentate more often, because this has become a podcast, and on our behalf, I would like to apologize if we are distracting you, but we're having a lot of fun. I hope you are too. Back to the gymnastics, though. Whitewater is going at it on floor. They just had a 3-pass routine, which again, Bailey, we don't see this a lot anymore. And I think we've had conversations about this before.
Yeah, definitely last season we had those. I mean, I'm just used to it now at this point that 2-pass routines are going to be the norm. And again, it just comes down to it's a long season. You want to make sure that the athletes can stay healthy. So I understand. And there's a lot more combination passes. We don't see a ton of, we see a lot of 1.5 front fulls. We see a lot of front double fulls and front pass routines. So it's nice to see the variety of each of these athletes doing their floor. Now, she did have a big wobble in the beginning of the routine, but finished it really well. Just to take a look at some scores here on beam, Simpson starting off really nice. They had a 9.625 from Rachel.
Wow.
Evelyn scoring a 9.7 in that second spot. They dipped a little bit with Emmy Barton, who we mentioned had some slight bobbles in her routine, 9.525. So interested to see what that big break from Olivia will be. So maybe that'll be a little bit lower than that 9.5.
I am hoping that the last athlete we saw scores well, because she just had a very intricate acro series. So by that I mean she had what it would be a side aerial, but it was with both of her feet together to a back layout to that little straddling the beam. Yeah, you say that. It's beautiful. I find those very artisty and very whimsical. So how do you even coach those?
Okay, I don't want to say anything bad. It's not to be a bad person by any means, but a lot of times people that don't have a good back handspring are better at those because they don't understand how to really open their shoulders.
That is true.
Yeah, or they have just really nice they have power, so being able to get those legs up and together and swing down.
Yeah, and sometimes mentioning to the audience, to anyone who's listening to us, whenever we say if an athlete can't or can do this or the other, that doesn't mean they're limited in their talent. It just means that you're gonna see more different skills from them rather than like what we said before, the cookie cutter routine. So having a bad back, for example, maybe not necessarily the greatest thing, but it brings around really unique skills. Like
Yeah.
that side aerial or the little go down on the beam. I don't know what that's called, but
Yes.
like those are really unique skills to unique athletes because of how their body works.
Exactly. And unfortunately, that athlete from Simpson did have a fall, but her side aerial series was solid and such a hard series to do. Being able to do a side aerial landing on one leg without wobbling, keeping it moving, going into another one, like crazy. And
Okay,
finishes it nicely.
What do you call that dismount? When it's
A
like
gainer front full.
gainer front foot. That word was escaping my mind. Last time I commented it, I was flabbergasted by that dismount and I couldn't believe it, but I didn't know what it was called. So I probably sounded very illiterate.
That's okay. I always think about those dismounts and I'm like, how do you not hit your arm on the side of the beam?
Right?
You know?
See, my sister did a back gainer, and
Very.
whenever she learned how to do the gainer, I was like, every time my neck would kind of like sink into my chest, I was like, oh.
Your head, your feet, what are you going to hit?
I was like, oh my God. But because the learning process, you have to kind of chuck it onto the foam pit. But once she did it, it was like natural. Same with the, yes. And
Sorry.
it was crazy.
But yeah, those gainer dismounts. I tried to learn one. I tried to learn a cartwheel gainer full. It didn't work. It didn't happen. I kept falling into the blocks. It just wasn't for me.
The ones that, Suni Lee begs the shout out. But like she used to do a back handspring gainer. And the amount of speed you get from a back handspring, don't underestimate it. I don't get how she never smacked her leg on the beam, or like that could have been disastrous, but it was perfect. So
Yep.
anyone who can do a gainer off of the beam, kudos. You go, girl.
Kudos. I'll stick with the round off. Even that was scary for me, but that's okay.
I used to do a round off double. That was terrifying.
Wow. So this is Jane Heffernan on floor for Whitewater, starting out with a nice combination pass, round off 1.5 front full, gearing up for a hard last pass, 2.5. I don't know why did she go out of bounds? I can't see.
I don't think so. I think they have a pretty good mat kind of covering that corner over there. But that step, at least, is going to have a little bit of a deduction because it wasn't a lunge. It was still in the right direction, but it was kind of like out of balance, if you will.
Yes, and this is their last athlete for Simpson, or not last athlete, but in the 6th spot for Simpson. Oh no. And that's what we were talking about, her eyes. So you saw that, again, we don't have slow-mo, so we can't show it necessarily, but when her second foot went onto that beam, her whole body was facing that judge's table, and then her head was as well. If she would have found her eyes at the end of the beam and able to pull herself back, she maybe would have had a little bit less of a mistake.
I do want to ask you about something that does happen uniquely to gymnasts. Beam bites.
Yep.
Does those ever go away, and how painful are they actually? I never think, to goodness gracious, I never got one, but a lot of my teammates did have beam bites. Ever. I ate the beam in my ribs saw the beam a lot, not necessarily the back of my legs.
Oh, how? I think ribs are worse, but
Yeah.
she just came back with that nice back handspring layout and that gainer that we were talking about. Beam bites, yes, I still mine still lives. And yes, it still hurts. No, it doesn't still hurt, but yes, they do hurt. She's talking about beam bites like this athlete did, where she slipped and hit her bum on the beam. Those do bite because the beam is like sandpaper. A little less than sandpaper.
And it has a little bit of an edge. So it will literally kind of like crease on your leg. So that's why I mentioned it, because she did have a kind of like, she tripped on herself and landed on her little side. So I almost wonder if that's going to give her a bad bruise.
Maybe it depends. I mean, it depends on how you hit the edge, really.
Yeah.
But those things hurt. Yeah. Don't bring back the bad memories. Come on.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Just those are unusual mistakes, and I'm petrified of bean bites. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Just go straight.
I hate that
top.
this happened to you.
Yes, but that's why it's so important to have your eyes on the beam, especially because I have athletes that, they do a leap and their eyes are up and they wonder why they slipped,
Like, hey, if you're not looking at the beam, sweetie. What goes into choosing or doing the mixtape for a floor choreography?
Great question. It depends on the athlete. You want to be able to showcase their personality, so it's kind of a collaborative process with the coach and the athlete. What are they best at? Are they best at more of a lyrical, soft routine where they can use their lines, or are they more of a powerhouse athlete where they need to showcase powerful dance? So
Right.
it's being able to bring out the best in each athlete and having that collaborative process with the coach, really.
I want to move to beam just a second to kind of highlight the fact that Simpson, every routine, at least so far, has had those side leaps that are insanely intricate and difficult, because with the same grace that you can do this leap, the same grace, the judge can actually discount a lot of tenths, because if you didn't make it all the way around, or if you hopped before you went onto the leap, or all the things the judges could actually come up with. But Simpson has a natural talent for dominating these leaps, and it's so exciting to see, because they're overextended over the 180 line, and they're just very fluid and airy. So I just wanted to put that out there. If anyone is going to go back and watch this, watch out for those leaps. They're really, really pretty.
They are really pretty. And leaps are sometimes they can be even harder than your actual acro element. An acro element is going to be that back handspring, back layout, that front aerial back handspring that you just saw. I disliked leaps. They were not my forte.
I had not necessarily a great relationship with flexibility, so mine were okay, but they were like crouching on that 180 line, like, hey, was that?
Yep. Same.
Up to the judge.
Up to the judge at this point.
Out of my control. I can't do it.
Right. And I feel like we're seeing now too, just this last maybe year or two, I feel like the leaps on floor are getting more intricate too. So it really is leaving it up to the judge like that. That was a switch side half to a popa. Now, did she get that all the way around? I would, if I was looking at it at this angle, unfortunately, no. But it's so intricate because they're trying to do those 2-pass routines. So they're trying to get the bonus points somewhere else. And that has to come from dance, or it has to come from a turn. And so it's just so much harder.
Mind you, if you are not going to do a 3-pass routine and you decide to complement your routine with more leaps, those leaps can actually be the downfall of your floor routine, because if you don't complete it all the way around, at least that's the requirement. You have to complete it all the way around, otherwise your requirement is done and you don't get that combination, and then your start value goes down and a whole bunch of problems unfold. But that's the kind of line some coaches are willing to thread for just simplifying mistakes in the more acrobatic skills throughout a routine.
Yep. And another exhibition routine for Simpson showing strong ability to potentially get into a lineup later in the season. And that's that side leap again. So hard.
They're just so, like, unpredictable.
And that's a D element. So like a D element gives you a 1/10 bonus.
I think in girls gymnastics is very hard to get a lot of skills that give you a lot of bonuses, like a lot of tens. I feel like there are combinations that will give you tops 2 tens. And it's like super hard to get this done. Or like it's a very strenuous leap or something that you would think, oh my gosh, this will give her at least 3 tenths. No,
Right.
that's a tenth. That's it. That's all you get.
10th. Yeah, I mean, that's why we see a lot more combination passes on floor. So,
Yeah.
you know, you want a round up 1.5 front folds gives you 3/10 bonus. So it's just crazy. But summarize, hit it.
Let's go for the event summary, everybody. So for total, we have a little gap of 4 points and some change. For the event summary, Whitewater ended their rotation on floor with a 48.550, and Simpson ended their beam with a 46.975. I think if they had at least one less mistake, they would have climbed easily into that 47. However,
Yes.
Whitewater still has to go onto the beam, and like what we were talking about before, this doesn't necessarily have to be the boogeyman of the competition, but so far, historically, it has proven to be so, so up to the test we go.
Yes, and I'm so impressed with how Simpson started out on beam. We talked about
Me
the
too.
lineups and how you want to have an athlete who is going to go up there and be so strong and so confident, and that's exactly what they did. Now they just have to tweak a little bit and find who can go in the middle of that lineup to be even stronger, to be able to get to that 47, to be able to get to that 48. And I was also impressed with UW-Whitewater on floor. Their endurance looked so good. Their landings looked sharp as well. So you want to see those landings stick and then lunge, and they were doing that. You had the first 9-8 of this meet going to Juliet Ryder. So incredible.
Yeah, I think we saw a variety of really, really good routines on both ends. I think I was really impressed with the flexibility showcase on beam and the variety of passes that we saw on floor. I mean, from this view, it's a little bit kind of far, so I wasn't necessarily super in tune with all the details of all the combinations that everybody had on floor, but so far I feel like Simpson is very, on this end of the conversation, Simpson is very capable of scoring really, really, really good.
Yeah.
And so Whitewater has, a little bit of advantage right now, but it's just, they're not that far apart from each other in terms of depth in the lineups.
Yeah, and you can take a look at it this way too. I mean, Simpson has not been around as long as Whitewater has, and so, a testament to them, I keep using that word, but a testament to those coaches to be able to recruit these athletes and really buy into their process is so great to see.
I absolutely agree. All right, you guys, we're going to take one final break. We're going to go into the warm-up for the final rotation. So stick around. We're going to be back in about 2 minutes.
Ladies, your 4-minute touch begins now.
Just like a hair in the corner.
All right, everybody, welcome back. And we welcome you to the last rotation of this competition. I have been wildly entertained. I've got to admit, this has been a really, really good competition so far. It's coming to a close, and this is where the pressure kind of intensifies, if you will, because everybody is like, all right, let's put it all out there. Let's see how we can finish this off. Bailey, how does the last rotation usually goes for coaches and athletes, and how does this dynamic kind of vamps up?
I was going to ask you that same question. So, dang it.
We can have a tangent about that.
Yeah, I mean, you really want them to finish it strong, you know? So this is the latter half of the meet. So coming from floor where it's an adrenaline event, going to beam like we talked about, being able to bring that energy to a calm is really, really hard, but also really important as well, you know? So I'm looking forward to this first routine from Whitewater being strong, as well as just grounded. And, you know, Simpson coming off a pretty good rotation on beam as well. So being able to find that adrenaline, but being able to control that adrenaline in the landings. So it's just, you're coming from such a high to a low, and then you're coming from such a low to a high. So you're, as a coach, you're just like, okay, let's get this team riled up. Or, okay, let's go get our beam lines done. Let's go get ourselves in Zen moment, like a Zen place. So, yeah, it's hard.
Do you think it is helpful to have kind of the same noise you have on floor carried out into beam? Like the same animation of the team, the same hoorah kind of
Yeah, I think so
dynamic.
because if your teammates are nervous, then that makes you nervous. Just like if your coach is nervous, you're as an athlete, you can tell that they're a little bit nervous, and then that makes you nervous. But I was just so impressed with that side aerial back handspring. My jaw dropped as you were asking that question.
It's stunning. It's exactly what you're looking for a starter.
Exactly, and she's just showcasing confident gymnastics up there, like she's on the floor. And those were those beamers that we're talking about. People who can go up there and just nail it. Keeps her core tight, pulls it back. So good. And then huge on the other side of it, just huge Rudy to that straddle jump. Wow. So what do you think though? Because we talked about it a little bit, how beam can kind of be that boogeyman event.
Yeah.
And having to be able to calm those nerves. I know you didn't do beam, so how did you as an athlete prepare other athletes, or how did you as a team kind of gather around that event?
I think, I have two sides of the spectrum because elite gymnastics, I did have to do beam, and that was a whole different realm because it was almost like a secure bubble. You were not supposed to interact or kind of be animated like this. Mm-hmm. But on college, you were looking for that hype, you were looking for them to kind of only focus on the noise your team is able to make. So I would be holding hands with my teammates. I would be there were some of my teammates that couldn't look at the beam routines as they were going, so they would turn around, and I was just yapping to them, oh, she's doing this, and she landed her acro series, good side aerial, this, that, and the other. So as a teammate, that sideline job is so important because it's kind of we would always think about it as you're giving them your energy. And if your energy is what we were talking about, if you're nervous for your teammate up in the beam is also going to be nervous.
Exactly. And I don't know about you, I remember having teammates. This is going to be a huge front tuck. Sorry, I just saw her gearing up for it. Unfortunate fall, just dipping those shoulders. But those teammates are there behind you, just keeping you grounded. I remember teammates always starting off, I would mount the beam and I could always hear them because I was listening for them because those are my people.
Yeah, it's like a guide.
It is. And they were take it one skill at a time, settle in. Those little cues
You're so pretty.
Are so helpful. Yeah,
yes.
Wow, gorgeous. And then you get to the dismount and it was, take it home, take it home, find the stick. And, that's what those teammates are there for. And they're still going to be behind her, even with that fall. They're going to, be there.
Absolutely support her. And now that you mentioned those little, that verbiage that you guys would have in terms of dynamic, just to educate the viewers and a lot of people that don't necessarily know this, you can't say commands like tight your legs or straighten your legs or point your toes or whatever. Those kind of commands are, I'm not sure if they're actual deductions, but I'm pretty sure it's frowned upon by the judges. And so it's those many little ways that you can help kind of code for your teammates up there on the beam, which is kind of just a curious thought because I thought that was always kind of weird.
Yeah. But it's nice to be able to hear certain things because it feels like you're at home.
Yeah. I also want to mention, I have been looking at some athletes from the WIAC specifically doing rounded back handspring 2.5. Mm-hmm. And that is just I love that pass so much. It's so
pretty,
complex and pretty.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's kind of out of the norm. You don't see a lot of twisters. So
no,
it's kind of really nice to see those come out.
Yeah. Well, you don't see a lot of, I know you were a twister, but you don't see a lot of twisters because your legs get crossed or your knees start to bend. So it just causes
form is hard.
It causes more of those little deductions. But okay, next question, because this girl's coming off of a fall on beam. She just nailed her series, right? So as an athlete, I know that you made the lineup, so your expectation is to hit no matter what. With a fall in front of you, people start to maybe get a little bit nervous because now they really have to hit. But You already had to hit, so what's the difference? Oh no, I just jinxed
At
it.
that, I know, not at all. We don't. Let's not say that. But I think when you have a mistake, that's the perfect moment when you practice that like wipe and keep moving.
Yep.
Because from the beginning, you're supposed to be in that, mindset of it's all a blank canvas and I'm going to do my best from beginning to end. All right, you had a mistake. Let's say I stepped out of bounds or had a fall from the beam. Am I going to continue making mistakes and cost more to my routine, or am I going to blank canvas this again? And you have about a split second to decide that between you hit the ground and you go back onto the event.
Mm-hmm.
So that is also something that is very intricate to teach, because your coach has to be there to support you in a way, but also you have to be able to apply pressure where it's due, not overexert yourself or just become too critical also, because then you're going to continue making mistakes.
Right. That's a good way to put it. And a great start from Simpson on this routine. Hard combination pass. She completed a front layout to that Rudy. And a Rudy, for those that may not know gymnastics lingo, is a 1.5 twist going forwards in a laid out position.
Yes, ma'am. Give them that verbiage.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I do like to see, and I've noticed this more, like little back tucks and front tucks and like side aerials on floor routines. I think that takes away the pressure from the leap series.
Yeah, and they do that because, see, she just completed 2 front passes. So in gymnastics, just like she did there, cartwheel, back handspring, she had to complete a backward moving element in order to get all of her elements that are required for that event.
Beautiful.
And Juliet Ryder is on beam. Beautiful back handspring, back layout. All of their series, I will say, their series looks so confident. It's just those other elements, the single elements, the acro, side aerial, or front tuck like we saw, that are causing them some issues. And wow, what a hard leap pass to be able to complete.
I know.
She may not have been 180, but her connection was flawless.
Yes, there was no doubt in there.
Yep, those were those little elements that I was just talking about. You want to stay patient on that side aerial. I know maybe you couldn't see it right then and there, but she just dipped one of her shoulders a little bit too early, but finishes strong. Holy cow. That was a great routine and a great comeback for UW-Whitewater. I just felt like I spoke 20 miles an hour in that routine. I felt like I had so much to say.
Well, it happens whenever. That's the beauty of gymnastics. There's so much going on that you're never going to run out of things to say. Realistically, you could talk about anything. There's so much happening. From the music that's playing, from the environment that's being displayed, the screaming, the going, like all of it. It's just like bam, 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 you know?
Yeah, that is true.
I do want to ask about the judges. I know last year we started this
replay. Okay.
Yeah, nice little replay. That was a good stick there. Last year we got a new implementation of a new panel to kind of minimize that. It's like they oversee the judges on the ground, and it's to minimize the discrepancies.
Right.
How does that affect like the approach to different combinations and different routines and skills from a coach's perspective?
Don't get me in trouble here. I'm just kidding.
Oh.
No.
No pressure.
It definitely changes things because, one, it puts pressure actually on the judges themselves to be able to really judge the routines properly. The point of it really was to, we had too many 10.0s in the last few seasons, and were those really 10.0s, or how can we differentiate those 10.0s? We kind of alluded to that earlier, saying, maybe we want to go to the elite judging, but
Right.
And I think that's why we see more cookie cutter routines too, because the coaches are like, I want to have the cleanest, simplest routine that have the least amount of deductions. Now, you may not see that here. You're seeing hard and difficult skills, but you're seeing the judges really take the points off as well.
Right. Like it's more of an honest display of, what you see on the beam or the floor to what you see on the scoreboard.
Yeah, absolutely. And to put it into perspective here, like, I don't want to age myself by any means, but, I was a collegiate athlete almost 10 years ago now, and a 9.8 was such a great score. A 9.85 was like a 9.95 nowadays. And so where has that gone, and what is, how has the sport evolved in that way to now have 10.0s being thrown out,
Right. No, I think that's what I appreciate the most with this environment and like D2 and D3. I think I see more up to par scores. And it also gives grace to the athlete to give her those kind of scores, because it's like, this is all you're capable of doing. This is as high as you could go, like you're at a 9.75 and you could easily score a 9.9 with a little bit more practice on steps here and there, or like leaps or whatever. And so it always gives that illusion of like further growth. But I just wanted to throw that out there. I feel like always mentioning the coaches, the judges is important, because they also play a big part in this whole gymnastics competition.
Yeah, they do. And it's nice too for athletes to be able to have a bag of tricks. So athletes that can do, let's say on the floor, they can do both back tumbling that you just saw there, that double back, but they also have nice twisting ability or front twisting ability to be able to show the variety and be able to, and have a coach be able to just pick and choose, okay, this is what you're doing for your routine, and that's what's going to work for them.
Right. No, I fully agree. See, so back into this meet, I think Whitewater is feeling a little bit of pressure on beam. They've had several mistakes here and there, quite a few balance checks, and Simpson, on the other hand, on floor, they're having the time of their lives. However, they are having a little bit too many steps on the corners. So we should see a pretty balanced team score towards the end here.
Yeah, but this is a great routine for Whitewater, and I want to say, that was their last athlete, Avery Friend. But their highest score right now is from their leadoff, with 9.65. So definitely not the rotation that they wanted. But again, their series, they were nailing their series. Yep. So, just want to see them a little bit more confident on those single elements and sticking those dismounts.
Yeah, I think, what we were talking about earlier is those little trick skills, like the turns or the leaps. The side aerials can be a little bit treacherous at times. But I'm glad that they have the bulk of their routines kind of settled in. So quote unquote, the harder skills are solid.
Yep, absolutely. I feel like whenever, my series was third skill or second skill up, and I was once I hit that, I was all right, I feel good now. I'm ready to go. I'm done. Just have a turn and I have another acro element, but I'm done.
I think my elite routine was a migraine worth of a routine. Yeah, because it started with a front tuck. onto the beam. So that was my hardest skill. And then
Heart attack even before you got on the beam.
and then when they changed it to the like leap onto the beam, that was even worse. I would have rather done the front tuck. But for me, it was the leaps. I always got really, really nervous on the leaps.
Yes. Me too. Because I was like, my leg might go a certain way and it doesn't come back to the beam. And that's on being not so flexible. So work on the flexibility at home, ladies and gentlemen.
Guys. These athletes that we are showcasing right now do not have that issue whatsoever.
No, that was on the left side of your screen. Beautiful leap pass and so hard. Switch leap to that switch half. We see a lot of that in NCAA gymnastics. And
it is very hard, by the way.
It is really hard because that switch half can, sometimes you'll see they're split a little bit off, but this one was square, dead straight over the beam. Really the only deduction, I mean, there's some deductions here and there, but like the biggest deduction was that dismount.
It was a really good routine, honestly.
Yeah.
I think, and going back to the exhibitions, I think both teams have had either one or two rotations where their exhibitions showed off. And so they either had a mistake in the middle of the lineup that they could probably swap those athletes and have them like play each other's roles at that point, like switch the exhibition into the lineup into the exhibition and have them test that water again. But I feel like it's pretty well-rounded on both ends. I feel like both teams have worked really hard this meet to kind of like maintain that pace going. It's just, I mean, so many things happen when you're like screaming and cheering and like exerting yourself throughout a 3-hour competition. Mind you, they already warmed up once all of the events prior to the event even starting, so you have almost like an hour worth of gymnastics prior to the event. So just add all that to the grand scheme of things, and the last events, usually that's when people get the most tired, so you see likely a lot of mistakes.
Yes. And mind you, they're probably starting early in the morning just to get their hair done.
That routine actually starts the night before. Did you guys have a teammate that was like the braider of the whole team?
So my era is the poof era.
Oh wait, the one in the front right here?
Yes. The braids came after me.
Oh my god. Okay? Oh my goodness. I am so sorry.
Yeah, so we weren't giving ourselves headaches. We were just having a little poof.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. Yeah, see, I came into the braids and now we're into the slick backs.
Yes.
So the braids are moving out of trend and the slicks into like the ballet buns are getting into style. Because I'm just now looking at a picture of myself with like 4 braids. And the like
your
really
eyebrows are like
yes, they're like pulled back all the way.
Facelift.
Oh my god. The forehead I grew. Crazy. My hairline was not happy with me, but that's a good point of conversation. What do you think these like style trends come from?
I don't know. I mean, just the society, I guess. Like, you know, you have like influencers on the street now, left and right. So whatever they're doing is going to be the next trend. So if you're going to bring back the 90s, like hair pulled, you know, slick back and then those 2 pieces of hair pulled down, everyone's going to start doing that.
That is true. I just feel like for the longest time, all the gymnasts I knew that were my seniors in, you know, international gymnastics that probably went into college or whatever the case would have been, had, you know, the poof and the semi bun was the whole ordeal. When I went into it, like the braids and the messy buns were kind of changing the game. Nobody did poofers anymore. Like that front little bubble, that was not a thing anymore. I don't know. And now the braids are also disappearing, so I don't know what's going on, but I
I
guess.
don't know how it changes. Yeah.
I think it's maybe the slick backs are just, they're gonna make me bald.
Yeah, I was somebody that, you know, if something didn't work for me at a meet, like a bow, I had put a bow in and it was a certain color. I had a bad meet, never wore that bow again.
Oh, me too.
So I wore a slick back once in a low pony, fell on beam because my hair got stuck on it. Never did that again.
I was having this conversation with my husband the other day. He's like, "Oh, you never wear ponytails," and I was like, "Because they're bad juju." The one competition I ever wore a ponytail, terrible competition. Never did it again.
Exactly.
Never did it again.
And like a leotard.
Yes. Oh my God! Don't even get me on this. On the grips.
Oh wow, you went down to the grips.
Yes, like to the point that there were things that I couldn't do if I wanted something to go as I wanted it. But for floor like we're seeing right now, I would pray every time in the same position in the same corner at the same time.
Cool.
That would help me. The bows never changed. And I never did my toenails because that was also a bad juju for me.
Bad juju, nails, anything.
Don't like it.
They have some strong front tumblers, and I know that you are a front tumbler as well. What are some things that like help you lift up in the air like you're seeing?
You're looking for that whip over your head coming into that punch. So if you're coming from a front handspring or a layout, you're looking for your legs to do the work to give you momentum into your next tumble. For me, I was a twister, so I had to position my arms in a very interesting way for the front handspring. I know there's different techniques for what you would call connection passes, but usually what you're looking for is for your head to stay as still as you can and your legs to do to give you all the momentum.
Yes, exactly. And like you said, there's different ways of twisting. Like you have the diver twist, like the arms kind of go
Oh my God.
like a diver, or you
Terrifying.
have the one that you're kind of talking about where you set and then you're twisting. So it just kind of depends on how many twists you're doing as well as just the way that the athlete gets it.
Yeah, I think a lot of these athletes particularly took it to another level and decided to some punch out of it. So not only did I see a couple double fulls or 1.5s here and there, but you saw the, layout to a 1.5 and so on and so forth. So that wraps up rotation for you guys. For Simpson, we got a wonderful 48-3-5. Right, and then as what we were talking about with Whitewater, we saw a lot of mistakes and a lot of room to grow, so they end up their rotation with a 46-0. They end up pretty close as in their tentative final scores. Simpson with a 188 surpassing their first score this season, 188-925, and Whitewater with a 191-275. That's 4/10 away from what they scored, or 5/10 away from what they scored in the first meet. And so Simpson exceeded their score for 2 points, 2.5 points, almost 3 points. It's amazing what these two teams can do. And I just want to hear some final thoughts, Bailey. I think this was a very eventful competition. I'm very happy for both of these teams.
It was really eventful, and there's so much room for growth, like you mentioned, from both of these teams as well. And I'm excited to see how they do in the rest of the season, and maybe some tweaks here and there with the lineups, and seeing these athletes really come into their own and be a little bit more confident on certain skills. It takes time. The beginning of season, you're gonna have a lot of nerves because it's the first time back out there under the bright lights, and you're gonna have some nerves that will pop out that maybe you don't see in practice. But as they continue to do those pressure sets in practice, it's gonna trickle into those meets, and they're gonna crush it throughout the rest of the season. So excited for both of these teams, really.
I don't know if we are going to get to see like an event per event breakdown here on the screen. So let me see if we can wait on that. Oh, there we go. So for vault,
As you speak.
yeah, for vault, we see the crowning top two are from Simpson with a 9.725, and Emmy got a 9.7, also tying with Whitewater. Carly Moore with a 9.7. Really, really good scores. I think all of the vaults that we saw today were rather on the high quality end.
We were, yeah, huge Yurchenko pulls. And then on the uneven bars, we had senior Paige Miguel from Whitewater receiving that 9.675. Also from Whitewater, Jane Heffernan receiving that 9.575. And then a four-way tie with a mixture of both Whitewater and Simpson College receiving a 9.5. Again, those were, I mean, bars was an area where we might have seen some built-in deductions here and there, but their swing was very powerful. Their lines were, at the handstands, they were exquisite, pointing their toes. So looking forward to seeing them grow on that event.
Beautiful releases too. On the balance beam, we have Simpson College crowning with a 9.7 for Evelyn Resnick. Sienna Vavala from Whitewater followed with a 9.65. That's literally half a tenth. And then Rachel Welch from Simpson with a 9.625. Mind you, all of these scores are probably less than a half tenth from each other. So it's just to show how close in difficulty they are from one another. Like, this is anyone's game here.
Less than a penny.
Literally, less than a penny. You guys, penny's not even a thing here anymore.
And then the floor, they rocked it. We were so impressed with their variety of skills and just high-flying tumbling. But Juliet Ryder from University of Wisconsin receiving the only 9.8 of this meet, receiving first place. And then Kaylin Talley, again from Simpson College, 9.775. So close, tied with Carly Moore from Whitewater, receiving that same score. So again, minimal deductions on all three of those athletes, rounding us out on floor.
I think we saw a lot of like powerhouses and like parties on floor, so that was exciting to watch. So to kind of close this out, to anyone who's listening to us on vault, Whitewater with a 48.175, bars with a 47.75, beam with a 46.08, sorry, and then the floor with a 48.550, finishing out with a leading 191.275. Simpson trailing behind rather closely, starting on vault with a 47.950, 45 on bars, 45.65, balance beam 46.975, which is really good. And then on floor, they ended up with a 48.35. Total is a 188.925. Any final thoughts, Bailey?
I mean, just looking at these scores in front of us, it's really great to see, because I think that they both started off really strong on their perspective or their events. So again, to reiterate, I'm just excited for them to grow. They're gonna go back into practice and continue to put numbers in so that they can maybe bring these overall scores up to the more of the high 48s or mid 48s. That's gonna set them apart from some of the top teams in the meets.
Yeah. Well, that is all we have for today. For anyone who's still online, please do stick around so you can watch the award ceremony. And on my behalf and on behalf of Baely Rowe, we wish you a good afternoon, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Right, I think we're ready for our little dance party. Gymnasts, are you ready? Here comes the cha-cha slide. to some timber.
I got that.
Alright, let's give a big round of applause to all our little dancers out there. Thank you.
Like 29. How many are there now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got like 30 of them. We have 26. We need 3 more. 3 more? So yeah, that put those down 2 there. More. Right. 1 more after that. 1, 2, 3. We need 1 more. Yeah, we can go. 1 more? There's another table over there too. Wait, oh, what is this for? Autographs. I'm doing autographs. We should start doing that. We should start doing that. 100 player autographs? Per player autographs? No, just Jaden and Noah Kirk. And Gabe Johnson. Hell yeah. You're a dickhead, you know this? Oh shoot, hey, we got more tablettes.
You go. Thanks, Mark.
let's read off the final results for today's meet. Tied for second on vault with a score of 9.7 for the Warhawks, Carly Moore, and for the Storm, Emmy Barton. And in first place on vault with a score of 9.725 for the Storm, Kaylin Talley. We have a four-way tie for third place on the bars with a score of 9.5 for the Warhawks, Brianna Bialian, Kaylin Summers, and Elaine Copeland. And for the Storm, Evelyn Resnick. In second place with a score of 9.575 for the Warhawks, Jane Heffernan. And first place on the bars with a score of 9.675 for the Warhawks, Paige Magel. In third place on beam with a score of 9.625 for the Storm, Rachel Walsh. In second place with a score of 9.650 for the Warhawks, Sienna Valvola. And in first place on beam with a score of 9.7 for the Storm, Evelyn Resnick. Tied for second place on the floor with a score of 9.775 for the Warhawks, Carly Moore. And for the Storm, Kaylin Talley. And in first place on the floor with a score of 9.8 for the Warhawks, Juliet Ryder. And today's all-around champion with a score of 37.275 for the Storm, Olivia Hadari. Thank you for your attendance here today. Please drive home safely. Correction, we will do the team award now. In second place with a total score of 188.875, your Simpson Storm. And coming out on top today with a total score of 191.275, the Warhawks. Now, thank you for your attendance here this afternoon. Please drive home safely, and we will see you next weekend for some more Storm Gymnastics.